on. Solenoid, of course, not working. So, I'll jump into the screwdriver. See if we can get it to start. Great. And they're fitting the I assume they're fitting the brake drum. Yep, looks like they're going in the right way, and it looked like I had enough room there, or the caliper was squeezed enough to get them in, and that'll keep them from wiggling. And don't look like they'll fall out, so go ahead and put the other one in together. And the bled, I can feel a good solid brake there. It's still not bolted down good, but might have to do a little adjustment to it. But I've got a good solid brake. Doesn't seem to be pumping up, so that's one job mostly done. Brakes are good. Yeah, there's the other new pads that were completely wrong. These went on real good, and I'm not hitting the caliper holder or the rotor or anything. I don't see any leaks or anything here. So far as everything goes now, I think I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm going to try to bolt that starter in good first. I think I can. This shouldn't be much of a problem to get it in. I haven't really looked at that starter when I tried to turn it. See whether it's not bolted in properly or not. I still don't know if I have the right spacers on it. But I did get it to engage the other day. I've got kind of a horrible ground just sticking on there. But it was enough to get a good solid whack on that starter. I don't know if I've got to, oh, I don't even have the starter cable on it. It's turning over. And just kind of retracing where I was the other day. Got a good punch on the starter, so I'll go ahead and try to put these wires back on here the way they should. I got something going on with a coil and all this mess here. I'll pull that out, see what's happening with that, trace down my starter button and key, and we'll go from there. I think this burn off wire here is probably the solenoid wire. I'll pull this coil off of here and see what I can find there. I know there's a lot of fried wires and some bad connections up in here. I was able to save this battery. I don't know what this one is either. It's probably the main hot wire. We'll try to figure out electrical mess. And if I can get it hooked up right here, hopefully I should be able to throw some plugs in this and start it today. Started tracing some of this. All this on the coil back here is really kind of been fried. Everything here has been melted pretty good. I don't know if it caught on fire, whether it was just, I think this wire here is solenoid. It's running up here into this kind of harness mess. This wire here, which is some kind of old speaker wire, it's running down to a breaker down here, and then the breaker goes over. It's going into another wire, and I'm pretty sure this is going into the voltage regulator. And this looks like 2 voltage regulators. Most likely they didn't take an old one out and put a Japanese one in or something. Anyway, so my coil wires are burned up here, or the leads to them. Solenoid wires have been burned up. I would assume that this should have been the main power wire, and it goes in the front. You can see it there. It's that blue wire down there. Then it runs up the frame here somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where yet. I'll see if I can sort that out and bring you back here in a second. Sorted out, turns out that for some reason this is the ignition module. They've got it mounted up here in front, and that's pretty sure that's not a Harley one. It looks fairly new, at least the wires do. And they've got it running to some kind of goofy ass connector right here, and that's running up here into the sensors. So who knows what was going on in there, but I never did really find that one big heavy wire that was coming from the back. But I looked here at the voltage regulator. It's got one wire that's grounded, and it's got a kind of a mess over here. You can kind of see it in there. So this should be a power wire out. That's going into the look like those 2 wires there are actually going into the case of the motor. Maybe that's for the oh, that's the stator windings coming out of there. Okay, so 2 stator windings are going in here. I thought there should have been 3, but maybe there's just 2. So you should have 2 power wires, or 2 AC wires coming into this thing, and then the wire going out. You can see down there on the bottom, that's got to be your regulated 12 volts, and most likely that's where this oh yeah, it is. Can't really see it back in there, but sort of see that wire right there, and that's the one going back towards the back here and up to the battery. So basically that wire is the power output of the voltage regulator, and it should go to the battery. So far that's all good. Like I said, the guy said it was running, but you know, he also said it was in good shape and just needed a bracket, not a whole starter rebuild. And so anyway, I'm assuming that these wires here are probably good there, and this ignition module, I'm assuming it's good. So basically I have to figure out here, where does my main hot wire go? It's going to go up here to the key. That's the first thing I'll do, is try to jump something into where I got key, or maybe I can get some dash lights or something on it. I don't really, not familiar exactly with wiring diagrams or anything, but I've had one of these off before, and I know there's a main battery wire that's got to go up in there, and it's got to be one of these here, or one of these. Anyway, there's 2 wires going up in there, 2 big clusters. So I just have to figure out which is what here. I put this, this is one that runs up there to the voltage regulator. I got nothing there, so, and that key's on. So now I figure I'll just jump something in here to some of these wires. Maybe I'll just look real quick in Harley color manual and see what this hot wire goes to. That's what I'm going to do now. Is these burnt wires, of course, have to be replaced. But my main thing, if I can just get power to the key, and then I can see what's going on from there. More poking and digging, and apparently this is a stock Harley Junction box, and I've traced these wires and these harnesses. There's 2 of them. Of course, one goes to the right side of the handlebars, one goes to the left side of the handlebars, and I don't remember, but it seems like orange was turn signal, so that's probably right side, left side turn signals. I did find this one white wire here, and that turned on the headlight. So I'm assuming this middle one here is probably the one that goes into the key switch. So they don't look too bad. I was able to see a few numbers on them. I got 3, 4, 5 or something. And most of these look like they're kind of push-on connector, and I'm assuming they're in the right place. I don't know if this junction box is any good. But like I said, I think this middle wire here got some blue and orange, and looks like a pretty heavy white wire there. That's probably going to the key switch. So I'll just have to determine which one of these is a power wire to the key switch and try jumping it, press on from there. This looks like a mess, but probably electrically it's okay. I cleaned it up so at least you can see the color of the wires. And a lot of them are painted. And anyway, I'm pretty sure that's all that is. And it looks stock to me, so it should be fairly easy to find a wiring diagram for stock Harley box. Press on, try and find a hot wire. Well, I found a bunch more ignorant butchery. I got the plate off. I don't know where to start. Obviously, this guy fancied himself a Harley mechanic. Here's a bunch of wires that have been taped up. Looks like we got a, most likely, I know these switches are weird. There's supposed to be a jumper back and forth here. I'm not sure what the deal is on those. But this looks like it's a main hot wire, which is going down there to an orange wire. They've got this gray one here, and I've got another one that's going here to a green one with a jumper. This is all loose. So I'm pretty sure that the hot wire is supposed to go to here. I don't know if this it's a circuit breaker of some sort. Don't know if that circuit breaker is any good. We've got another circuit breaker here. This is probably for the accessories. And a bunch of other crap that's been tied off. Man. To do it right, you know, it needs to have all these bulbs got to be replaced. That switch is up pretty obviously. Not in good shape. I guess all I can do is kind of untape the stuff and see what the hell it was supposed to be. I think these, looks like the speedometer is not even really bolted down right. It's got one bolt in it. It's a mess. All I'm going to do is try to untape it best I can, so at least I got some kind of idea what wires I got, and just try running power into one of these and see if any of these contacts are any good. Should be, I think that's off, or that's off, and the ignition on, and lights on. That's sorted out. Looks like this is the main power going up here into the key. This one is a white wire coming out of up here, and it's got a whole bunch of blue ones and connectors coming out of it. I think these were probably, anyway, I think this is a light circuit here. Out of all of this mess, there's only one blue one that's going back into the harness. This one, I'm not sure what it is. It's real long, and I think it might be a light for the speedometer. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump a hot wire here, see if this circuit breaker is any good to start with, and then see if I'm getting any kind of power coming out of that key. Around with this a while. Looks like this circuit breaker is good. I've got power when I turn it on, and I checked it down at the coil. It's got power to the coil, and I hooked up the light here at this white wire, and I've got lights, and I have a high and low beam, so this circuit's working. So it would make sense that that's on, because when you push on the starter, you'd want to automatically turn it on. So I'll have to trace and see whether this switch is just bad and on all the time. That's why the solenoid is like the way it is. But it's right now got power all the time, no matter what. And the key is off. So I'll have to trace it down. It's one of these wires here. I'll just figure out which one it is and see where it's going there, and see if I can find out where it's getting its power from. I haven't really, like I said, looked up any Harley color codes or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure it's in that right handlebar switch. I don't know anything about the turn signals or nothing yet. You know, Harleys are weird. I don't know if this is turn signal or the horn. That's high low. I think that might be turn signal. Nah, I don't remember. They're kind of strange. The high and low beam I know is this one. Now I'll just have to find out which one of these wires coming out of this harness here is the starter button, and see whether it's just a bad wire, wired wrong. Looks like I got some kind of a green something jumped both of them. My guess is that's some kind of the ground for turn signal. So anyway, that's the next thing. Try to trace down that starter button wire. Out. A couple crazy looking wires here. It's coming out of this harness. It looks like one of the black wires is actually the solenoid switch. And those other two are probably the horn. So, solenoid's working. At least the wires are right. The thing is, it's not strong enough to move it far enough to actually engage the solenoid. And then once it does engage, it doesn't want to unengage. So I got something going on there still with the solenoid. Here's the old one. There is a little difference between these. I don't know if the linkage in here is wrong. You know, this is the one I did modify a shifting fork for it, or whether this is don't know what the deal is here. So I'm going to pull it off again and try to put this new solenoid on it. I could probably squirt a little gas in it right now because I think it's probably firing. I have power to the coil anyway, so I'm guessing it would fire. I haven't really replaced any of these bad wires or anything yet, but I at least did get the solenoid activation wire right. I think I just started with this new solenoid rather than try to put the old one on, but I'm going to try to put the old one on and see if that makes any difference in it engaging or not engaging. All right, back in. It's crooked as hell. I don't know why, but it looks like it's going to engage with the starter button. Nope, apparently not. I wonder what's happening there. Anyway, but if I jump it, but it's not. Well, it is. It is freeing up. Well, let's try this again. Get my fancy key switch here. Hook it into my positive. Starter button should be working now. I can hear just a little bit of clicking out of that solenoid. But if I jump it here to positive, it's engaging. I think this might need a starter relay or something to put some good current into it. It's just really not got enough power there to work on the starter button. Of course, I don't know how good any of this wiring is. I know for sure this is not very good. But if I do jump it here, it is jumping. And it does kick loose. I don't know whether it's this one here's so far back or what, but it's definitely solenoid is working right now. I just don't like this complete crookedness of the whole thing. So anyway, that answered my question there. I guess the next thing I could do is see if it's firing at all. Put a coil wire on it, just stuck one plug up there. We'll see if it's firing. Yeah, it's firing. Not real good, but it is firing. I don't know if this thing's even got any gas in it. I think what I'll do is squirt a little carburetor cleaner down in here. I don't think it makes any difference which way these go. I think they both fire at the same time. At least our ignition system seems to be working. I'll put this back together a little bit, squirt some fluid in it, and see if we can get it to pop or something. Well, I'm going to give this a try, put some gas in it. Looks like it did get to the carburetor. Got my positive wire hooked up. It should be on. Solenoid, of course, not working. So, I'll jump in with a screwdriver. Start. Kill button works. Well, looks like it started, so I didn't check the oil pressure or anything. Try again. Get something to jump this thing with. No. And starter mess is really bad, but look like it's good enough to start it. I couldn't really hear any grinding or anything in there. This I put what I think is a main power wire that went up to the voltage regulator there. I don't know how good any of those connections or anything else is, but I'm going to start it here, and I've got the lights hooked up so they'll turn on. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up and see if I got any kind of charge rate. Should fire. Well, looks like it's charging. With the lights on, it's pulling it, at least headlight. So he said he had a new stator in it, which probably does. But anyway, I've got most of the wires hooked up here. Of course, I don't have any dash lights or brake lights or brake light switches, nothing hooked up. But the damn thing starts and runs. I don't have any oil in that primary case either, so I don't really want to run it a long time. The starter's really bad angle. I don't know, I might be able to put a washer or something in there and maybe force it a little straighter. But if it's going to start, and this little piece of junk, I'll just leave it alone. I know the primary case got some cracks in it, probably leaks. I've got a couple more bolts to put in it, but as far as a project moving along, I really need to get another dash with indicator bulbs in it. I don't know what that's going to cost. It's probably not going to be too cheap. And this old funky flame thing here. I don't know whether I'll try to keep that or not. I don't think I'm going to even try to mess with that one there. Now, of course, you know, if it's going to be a couple $100 or something, then I'll try to take that one out and figure out how the bulb wiring goes. It's probably some of this junk right here. But it did start and run. And even with the bad wires, it's charging. So at that point, it's kind of worth working on. Don't really sound too bad. I'm sure with a air cleaner and being able to put the choke on there, it'll be all right. So that at least tells me that I got a workable project. Clean up a little wiring and try to mount stuff the way it's supposed to go and get brake lights and stuff on it and move on from there.